because it's about releasing control and allowing ourselves to be in this don't know mind. We can get so stuck on being right that we don't even see that we need to make a shift. We get so stuck on that. We know. This is the transcript of an actual radio conversation of a U.S. naval ship with Canadian authorities off the coast of Newfoundland in October of 1995. Radio conversation released by the Chief of Naval Operations on November 10th, 1995. Americans, please divert your course 15 degrees to the north to avoid a collision. Canadians, recommend you divert your course 15 degrees to the south to avoid a collision. Americans, this is the captain of a U.S. Navy ship. I say again, divert your course. Canadians, no, I say again, divert your course. Americans, this is the aircraft carrier USS Lincoln, the second largest ship in the United States Atlantic Fleet. 3 destroyers, 3 cruisers, and numerous support vessels accompany us. I demand that you change your course 15 degrees north. That's 15 degrees north, or countermeasures will be undertaken to ensure the safety of this ship. Canadians, this is a lifehouse. It's your call. Lighthouse. See how we can get so stuck in our knowing? We're not going to make a shift. They got to make a shift. But so we're looking at this book, The 5 Invitations. This is it seems like it's never ending, this book, right? Because we've been kind of sporadically talking about it, these 5 different invitations on how to live life more fully and how death can teach us to live life more fully, by Frank Ostaseski. I can finally say his name right after how many weeks, yeah. So this is the 5th invitation, which is cultivate, don't know mind. Cultivate, don't know mind. We'll get into what that means. But he says this, which goes perfectly with the naval story. When we are filled with knowing, when our minds are made up, it narrows our vision, obscures our ability to see the whole picture, and limits our capacity to act. We only see what our knowing allows us to see. Sound familiar from that little story? So this week I watched an interview. Betsy Balmer had sent me a link to see an interview of Frank Ostaseski on the ramdas.org online channel. And he's just fantastic. If any of you have seen him on a YouTube video or something, he's exactly the calm, quiet presence you would want if you were in hospice. And he's the founder of the Zen Hospice Project. And he's accompanied thousands of people to that next realm, to their passing. And in his interview, he didn't really get into this section of it, but he reminded me of how in the beginning he says that when people come to the end of their life, they don't talk about their regrets. They talk about love. And there are 2 questions that they ask themselves when they know they're at the end of their life is, was I loved, and did I love well? Was I loved, and did I love well? That's what's concerning people as they are at the end of their life. This is what people are facing. So why do we wait until we think we're at the end of our life to question that? Why do we wait to make sure that we are loving and loved? Why not do what we need to do right now, in this moment, to ensure it? That's what this book is all about living a fuller life is about making sure you love well and making sure you're loved. Being the kind of person that would be loved. And so the 5 invitations are: don't wait, welcome everything, bring your whole self to the experience, find a place of rest in the middle of things, and cultivate don't know mind. If we do these things, we can get ourselves into a place where we can feel that we are loved and that we're loving well. We can live a fuller life. We're not waiting until the end of our life. So he says on page 233, don't know mind is one characterized by curiosity, surprise, and wonder. It is receptive, ready to meet whatever shows up as it is. It's a beginner's mind. It's a mind that asks questions, that doesn't know. It's open and receptive to new ideas. It's not insisting on being right. It's not insisting on getting its way, but knowing that there are many answers, many ways of doing things, many options, many possibilities for us. And the more we dig in and think this is the way to do this, or this is the answer, the less likely we are to see all the other possibilities in the world. And they're endless. Our society is obsessed with data. Have you noticed that? I mean, I know this. I got an Apple Watch. We have to know how many steps we take. We have to know how we're sleeping. We have to know, so much stuff. We want to be right. We want to be in the know. We want to make sure we stay on top of what's going on. We have to have all the information. Rarely are we open to sitting in a place of not knowing. We would look stupid, wouldn't we, if we didn't know, if we didn't have the answer right at hand when somebody asks us a question. But this invitation is allowing us to be in the mystery. Life is a mystery. There's so many things we don't know, but we insist on finding the answer, making sure we have it. We rob ourselves of living a full life. We rob ourselves of all the other possibilities that might work out better for us if we're only open to them. Unity's 3rd principle says that our experience of life is determined by our thoughts, our emotions, our beliefs. If we're insisting that we're right, our experience of life, what happens when someone comes up with a different answer? What's that experience going to be like? We want to be open to other viewpoints, open to other ways of doing things. We can create heaven or hell on earth with our thoughts. It's up to us. Which do you want to create? When we're rigid in our thinking, we need to be right, we're not allowing the other possibilities into our awareness. This can take the joy right out of our lives. Right out of our lives. And we forget. We forget all the time, but we think we know. We think we remember the facts exactly as they happened, right? How many of you think that? I have the answer. I remember it. You're not remembering it right. I'm remembering it right. Science has proven that the longer we get away from an event, the less we remember the details. We remember the gist of the situation, but not the facts. And that's okay. It's probably better for us to not remember all those facts. But we insist on being right. We insist we know. Here's something we can all try. Try saying this: I could be wrong. Have you said that recently? Let's say it together. I could be wrong. How did that feel? Oh my God. We can allow ourselves that there's other ways of doing things, not thinking we have the only right way. In the interview that Frank did, he talked about an app called We Croak. I downloaded the app, and it's just, you get 5 quotes a day between, I think, 9 a.m. and 10 p.m. So it's not going to wake you up, get a notification. And and they don't come at any specific time of the day, just like death. We never know when it's going to come. We can't prepare for it most of the time as we would like. And so you get these quotes about life and about death, and at 5 random times throughout every day. Try it. They're good quotes. I didn't record any of them. I didn't write any of them down. But they're good. They're just reminders for us. Good reminders that we croak. That all of us are going to have an ending to this physical life. We all do. And that should help us see how connected we are. We could be wrong. Not about that. Not about croaking, but we could be wrong. Anyway, intellectual humility is really good for us. Having this don't know mind, having this mind, that beginner's mind that is open, it's good for us. It's good for us. Quoting Zen master Suzuki Roshi, Frank says in his book, in the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, but in the experts, there are few. And we don't even have to be an expert on something. We can just think we're an expert on something. And there won't be as many possibilities for us because we're closed-minded. We're closed. And so this is an invitation to stay open, to allow your mind to be open, to allow your heart to be open. There's just no room for possibilities if our minds are made up. There's a highly learned scholar went to visit a Zen master, and he wanted to become enlightened. But he got in front of the Zen master, and all he did was talk, talk, talk. And so the Zen master started pouring him a cup of tea. And the cup overflowed, and it started flowing onto the table, and then it started pouring onto the floor. And the scholar says, "Stop, stop, you're overflowing the cup." And the Zen master, who kept pouring, said, "This is like your mind. There's no room for any more information when you think you know so much. We want to empty our minds. We want to be open, get into the flow." Yesterday, we had a neighbor of ours who we haven't been able to get together with in a few weeks, and she had texted Kevin a few times, maybe 2 or 3 times, and asked if we could watch the Michigan game with them or get together for turkey soup, and I kept saying, "No, I got talk prep, no, talk prep, no." And then I realized I'm doing exactly what I'm going to be preaching about. I'm saying, don't be rigid. I was being rigid in my talk prep time. I was holding that space and no, I can't allow for any flexibility in this because this is my space to plan my talk. And so I texted her after we had said no 3 times. I said, how about we come over after the game and visit with you guys for a little while? And she said, "We're going to go for a walk after the game. You want to go for a walk?" So we did. We walked around the lake, and then we ended up at their place for a little while. And it was lovely. And I didn't miss that hour and a half of talk prep time. I probably needed to get away from it. But we do that to ourselves. We think there's no other approach but the approach that I have because my way is right. And it's right for me. But there could be any number of ways that are right for us. Any number of ways to do something. Any number of answers. Any number of options. And we just have to allow ourselves to be open to it. That's the don't know mind. That's the beginner's mind. Instead, we often say, "I need to figure it out." I used to say that a lot about my talk prep. I need to figure it out. I need to figure out what I have to say. I need to figure out what these people need to hear. And it's not about figuring it out, it's about getting clear. It's about giving it space. And that's what, for me, going for a run or going for a walk allows it the space it needs so that the clarity can come, so that the guidance can come. I can't hear the guidance. I can't discern guidance if I'm so full of this is all this stuff and this is how it has to be. None of us can. So we want this open mind, this don't know mind. Don't be so rigid. We get into the flow when we're doing that. Have you ever noticed, and he talks about this in the book, how kids do the monkey bars? And then you watch an adult do a monkey bar. As an adult, we will make sure we're hanging on really tight and then move one hand and then make sure we have a really good grasp on it until we'll actually release this hand to go for the next one. And you see kids, they get that. They have this open, don't know mind. They are in the flow. We've watched our granddaughter, Reagan, do that many times. She's just so quick across the monkey bars. I could never do that. We get in the flow. Be as children. Jesus says in the book of Matthew, chapter 18, verse 1-5, at that time the disciples came to Jesus and asked, "Who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?" He called a child whom he put among them and said, "Truly, I tell you, unless you change and become like children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Whoever becomes humble like this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven." Now, the kingdom of heaven, metaphysically, in unity, what we teach is that it's a Christ consciousness. It's a consciousness that comes from the highest version of ourselves that we can attain, the highest version we can see. And it's that consciousness that sees oneness, that experiences peace and love and joy. We create that with our thoughts. And so to get to that state of Christ consciousness, to get to that kingdom of heaven, we have to be open. As children are open, we have to be curious. We have to wonder. We have to allow ourselves to be in a state of awe. Have you been looking at the pictures that the James Webb Telescope is sending of the stars? It's fascinating. Fascinating. All the stuff we don't know, that we're learning, that we're seeing pictures of these stars and the different galaxies and universes, and it's just amazing. And allow ourselves to be in this place of awe that we don't have all the answers. It's humbling. And then we can realize there's sacred in everything. Sacred. We are on sacred ground. Sacred comes from the word, I don't remember what the word was it comes from, but it means to set aside what is most valuable. Set it aside what is most valuable. We are all sacred beings, so see each other in that most valuable way. And we can't do that with a closed mind. We have to have an open mind. We have to have that beginner's, childlike mind. And so in Zen, the Zen Buddhism, there's Shoshin is the word associated with beginner's mind. And there's lots of, if you Google Shoshin, you'll find lots of ways that you can cultivate this beginner's mind, how you can help yourself be more open. Some of the ways that I saw online were take one step at a time. Don't be so driven and focused on the goal, but explore. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the process. Live without shoulds. We should on ourselves so often. I do that. I should have done this. I should have done that. That's not a beginner's mind. That's thinking that there's only one way. It's many ways. Focus on questions, not answers. A good question can bring so much guidance if we're open to it, rather than thinking we have the answer. Fall down 7 times, get up 8. Meaning, don't give up. We watched a movie last night called Naiad. Has anyone seen Naiad? It's about Diana Naiad, who swam from Cuba to Florida. And she tried several times unsuccessfully. And it's a good movie. It's with Annette Bening and Jodie Foster. And it's interesting because I was in this space of this material when I was watching it last night, and it's not until she humbles herself and realizes it's not all about her that she actually does it. She realizes it's a team effort and she needs other people. It's about humbling ourselves. And then don't prejudge. Don't prejudge. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. My thoughts could be wrong. I could be wrong. I saw a video yesterday it was an animated video of a woman she's contemplating her 18th birthday. And she's scrolling through social media and she's seeing all these people that seem to be having this great life, and she's just feeling worse and worse and worse about herself. And she's thinking about how she doesn't fit in, she doesn't belong, she's not loved, she's not likable, she's not gotten to where she wants to be. She's 17. She's not gotten to where she wants to be yet in life. And then she falls asleep and she has this dream of seeing herself as a young child and seeing how she was bullied and seeing how people would say things to her and she was taking them on. And every time someone said something disempowering to her, she got another chain on her. And she kept hearing all these voices, and she was taking them in and being chained and chained and chained and chained to the ground until she couldn't move at all. And in her dream, as a young adult, she sees herself empathizing with her little young self and giving her little young self a hug and love. And realizing, her young self starts realizing, and the chains start falling off. We need to do that for ourselves. Love ourselves. Love ourselves. Because the more we love ourselves, the more free we are. The less other people's disempowering words will affect us. They'll just bounce right off. But having that don't know mind, that beginner's mind, is allowing ourselves to, okay, they're saying that they could be wrong. Instead of taking it in and then starting to believe it. There's so much more open to us, available to us. The mystery of life. So much more to life. We want to hold that mystery. So try it this week. Try it this week. Try saying, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. And see what other possibilities, try on some other possibilities. It's a great way to find a joyful life, a peaceful life, a more free life. And then you can enjoy this holiday season and all that it brings. And Advent starts next week, not this week. Next week, Advent, the whole Christmas season, where we all get to practice embodying peace and joy and love. And so, don't know mine. Cultivate, don't know mine. Peace be with you. Namaste.